Welcome, design enthusiasts. This is the ultimate destination for all things design. Whether you're a struggling designer, or you've just started out at a design school, or whether you just don't know where to start from, which career should you take, we have got it all covered. We have industry experts coming in, academicians coming in. They are going to help you get into the minds of design and designers as well. So sit back, relax, let's get on this design journey together. Also, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and feel free to drop in any ideas in the comment section right below. Thank you.
Definitely.
So there is no age.
And I think I would always be a design student. Your sketching skills acha hai, which is very good, and it is definitely an added advantage. But just because you do not have those skills, you cannot enter design. That's a very wrong way of thinking.
So, our first episode is a dear friend of mine, architect Ashwini Hublikar. She has 14 years of industry experience, varying from corporate offices, residential interiors, retail, and you name it all. She has been actively a group of the Academic Council, and she's here to give us insights on design and dealing with motherhood. The perfect balance of parenthood and a full time designer. Welcome, architect Ashwini Hublikar. Stay tuned for an upcoming interesting episode. Thank you. Today we have with us architect Ashwini Hublikar, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. How do you feel to be on our podcast?
Thank you, Devanshi, for this wonderful opportunity. It's a first for me, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So we are going to have an interesting conversation with you today. So I would like to reference Simon Sinek's Golden Circle here first before we start our podcast, where he talks about the what, the why, the how. As to a lot of people know what they do, a lot of people know how they do it, but not many know why exactly they are doing their job or they're studying or why they are doing what they're doing. So, why do you think design is your go to career option? And why do you think design in general is a good career option?
So I believe design is power. So design has the power to change things. It is kind of, you need to have a vision to solve a issue or a problem. It could affect a lot many people. So it's not something which you do just for yourself, but you enhance a lot of lives. You can touch a lot of people through it. So I feel design is a very interesting option as a career. Also, in this today's world of AI, where everything is taken over by artificial intelligence, because you could be replaced easily if you're doing a typical job. Just a skill is there, where the skill is only required. But in design, you have to put in a lot more, and a human mind is capable of a lot more. So I think this would be a very interesting and a very good career option in future as well.
So design, the moment someone talks about design, they're like architect, hai, interior designer. Hai. But do you think it's just these professions? What other avenues are there in design? What other, pursuits are there in design?
Oh, design is huge. The field is like, I would say, right from branding to advertising, even that is a part of design, graphic design. You have photography, you have what do I say, product design. You also have these packaging design, which again becomes a part of graphic design. You have these advertisements which come up, maybe a print kind of a thing. So the avenue is endless, actually, I feel. In fact, nowadays, today, when you're talking about a future, if metaverse is taken into account, there would be architects who would be designing things for metaverse. So it's pretty interesting. So design is not limited to a certain thing. So in metaverse, we are doing for virtual world. Gaming, again, designing is required. The background is there. So it's not just plainly putting a picture. A lot of thought process goes into it. You have a lot of back study with goes. Fashion is an avenue. So journalism is definitely there. So many things can happen if you look at design just as a career option.
Fair enough. I mean, the viewers actually need to make a list as to how many design sectors you've just named will be on your literally on your fingertips. Okay. So moving on, was there any one moment, one experience which you had in your lifetime where you thought, no, I think this is the career option I want to go for. This is the field I want to choose, and design is something which I would go ahead.
Actually, during my time, which was quite some time back, I wasn't much aware of this as a field as such, design as a field. And my entry into this field was very accidental. I always wanted to go for engineering, and that was the intention. But my friend was opting for architecture, and I kind of tagged along, and here I am. Maybe the best decision in life I have ever taken. So yeah, the exposure to lot many things wasn't there. The people whom I knew, whom I could get inspired to, the design, or they had not taken fields. It was typical, I guess. Um, as we have in Asian parent culture, you have medicine, you have engineering, and you have
Yeah, yeah.
a standard CA. So that's the limit most of the time. So that's what my thought process was also. But it's wonderful, and I really thank God that I'm in this profession. Frankly,
So you've been in the field for like 20 years now. And you've
yes.
had like a vast experience in offices, residential, and I'm sure you've done your hospitality. So you've done your commercial interiors, you've done residential, you've done hospitality, you've touched so many fields.
Mm-hmm.
So you must have met a lot of people. So I think something you would like to talk about networking or of that sort.
So basically, design, taking up design as career has opened up so many other things. So my now aspect is not limited to one thing. So for example, today I am doing an office interior for a share broker. So I have
Okay.
to understand the process, how their team works. So invariably it gives me a knowledge about lot many other things which are happening around it as well. So it's a new learning every single day with every single project. Even when you talk about residential, so no two residences are same, because what the client wants out of that residence is completely different. So it helps me understand different perspectives. So my knowledge about a lot many things have improved just because I am in such kind of field. So I feel blessed in those sense.
I mean, I'm sure ma'am has given us a lot of insights. Uh, so, one more question coming your way. So, nowadays, students and aspiring candidates of
Mm-hmm.
design who want to get into the design field, they see it as an interest, as a side interest, as a side hustle. कि
Mm-hmm.
मैंने intermediate elementary दिया है, मेरा drawing and sketching अच्छा है. Does that necessarily mean they should pursue design or get into the field?
आपका drawing और sketching skills अच्छा है, which is very good, and it is definitely an added advantage. But just because you do not have those skills, you cannot enter design. That's a very wrong way of thinking. So design happens beyond that. So unless and until you think of a problem and solve it, that is where design, and how you solve it is where design happens, according to me. So, and that capability, if you have numerous tools to help you with the skill level. So skill level in the sense, you would have now computers to take care of the drawing and the sketching part. You have other things like photography, or maybe now AI is also there to help you visualize things. So you have other tools, but if you cannot think of an interesting problem, and a problem which happens in an everyday life, and how you would take steps to solve it, if that is not taken care of, just tools are not enough. Having just good sketching, is not enough. So it's a nice thing that if you are able to sketch or able to draw, it's an added advantage, because you do not have to be dependent on anybody. But it's not as if you're not good at all these things, you can still pursue design. And it shouldn't stop you, because, design is like, it's design and art is synonym to me. So it is beyond just the skill set. Acquiring skill, and that's what you learn in college. 5 years architecture courses there. I guess any other art college we have 4 years course. So
3 years,
generally, 3-4 years. That's what the teaching, the education, and then of course you have the internship. None of these art fields are the courses which you have for art fields. They include internship as well, because you learn it on the field. So after having a decent experience, you will gain that skill. So that will happen. So you should not limit yourself because you do not have a certain skill set.
So I actually, yeah, I was coming to that point. That's contrary on both the counterparts. So if you are not good at sketching, you can still get into the field.
Yes.
So you will eventually learn the skill set. But if you're good at it, then it's an added advantage. But again, that's not the only thing that matters, because like we have design processes, design thinking, design analysis. There are so many different things where at least you must be good at something. Maybe someone is good at technical.
Yeah.
As you said, maybe someone is good at some other skill. Fair enough. That works. That works for the viewers. All right. When I say students, when I say aspiring candidates, it does not necessarily mean 19 years ke hai, 20 saal ke, 21 saal ke.
I call myself a design student.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So there is no age.
I think I would always be a design student, There's so much to learn. We are not even like a trickle, basically. So, yeah, it's vast. Its knowledge is vast in terms of design.
So it's a constant learning process is what you're aiming at.
You need to evolve yourself constantly. It's not something which you learn it as a subject and then basically just give exams for it and that's it. No, you need to evolve. It's not stagnant, basically. So as per the projects you get, especially in terms of interior design, or even I would say product design or branding, depending on your client. So each client becomes then unique. So you have to understand the client, even though sometimes the project seems repetitive. For example, you're doing a corporate office. There are offices who deal only in corporate interiors, but still all their offices are different because the clients which they are catering to are different and their needs is different. So and sometimes even if the need is same, the way they want it to be catered is different. So there are a lot many things, and I know it sounds complicated, but as a simple example, if I can give, so residential interiors, I would say, okay, I want my residence because, I love to entertain people. So that could be one kind of residence. Or sometimes I want a residence which is like a solace for me, place where I keep myself surrounded by only positive vibes, and I do not want people to enter that place. Only basic family members. So the way I treat these both residences in terms of design would be absolutely different. So even though area-wise or it would be similar. So that is where it makes it much more fun, and understanding the client and understanding the requirements. See, that's what I'm saying. You have a problem, That's not exactly a problem, an issue, or an intention. The intention needs to be clarified into a built form. So that is what it takes, I feel.
So to make it a little simple, you're saying problem solving. So basically design becomes a problem solving. कि हर प्रॉब्लम अलग है, हर प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन अलग है.
प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करना भी
पहले तो डायग्नोसिस, करेक्ट.
So identifying, because sometimes the clients definitely they know what they want, but what is it that will make that happen is missing. So diagnosis is the most important thing.
पहले तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है. Sometimes your client also doesn't realize that this is the problem. But we are still facing it, and then you identify it for them and you solve it for them. So
especially it's very relevant in retail and all these kind of spaces. It's much more relevant there.
All right. So now we're talking about age groups. So I've seen candidates who are mothers, who are mothers of 2, mothers of 3, who have just become a mother. So I feel they are also, they find it very intimidating when they go to a design college. So would you want to comfort them and tell them why this field, could be relevant for them? I mean, at least motivate them to get into a design school. Generally, these people refrain from getting into a design field. They are like, it's probably late for us, or, how will we get back to a design school, or maybe learn design online. There are a lot of avenues you can learn design online also. So how do you juggle motherhood and this? So I think they can learn that from you, because you're a full-time mother and a full-time career-oriented woman.
I guess many people do it. It's not just me, frankly speaking. Yeah. And first of all, I would say there is no age for learning. So you can start learning at any point. If you feel that, oh, I have gone past the age, I think that kind of mindset will never ever, you have to kind of break open from that mindset. Otherwise, you won't be able to prosper and grow. So, and maybe the initial few days would be a hiccup, but then everything just fits in and you are not an outsider anymore. So just find whatever works for you, and I think you should definitely go for it. And it's never too late to start anything new. Learning is something which is going to be with you. Knowledge is something nobody can take it away from you. It's something which a thief cannot be kind of take it away from you, or nobody can rob you of it. So it's precious, and I feel if you have an opportunity, grab it with both hands. And as far as motherhood and career, I guess guilt to hamesha rehta hai. Either way,
What is that? The fear of missing out on your
FOMO.
child. FOMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, when you are with your child, you are like, oh no, but I still had that deadline, And when you are in office, like, oh, I'm missing this. So yeah, it is definitely there. I would say you cannot
How do
get
you
rid of
juggle?
it.
Any tips, tricks you can give us? How you juggle these two worlds?
I would say, sometimes I feel even a stay-at-home mom also has guilt. Probably,
Oh, yeah.
they are not being more proactive in how they are raising a child. But I think having a support system worked for me. So I have been truly blessed with the family support. So I had my mother who took care of my child when I am away. So I had that peace of mind that he is in good hands, rather than just having it. I wasn't very comfortable leaving. And way back when my child was really young, the creche and everything was not what it is today. So it was pretty difficult, And
Daycare, you mean? Correct. Daycare.
Yes. So now it's actually, I guess, at least in the urban areas, it's quite efficient. So so it probably works much better. But I was lucky to have my mother around to take care. And later on, I had always decided that after my child is like 6 years, I would cut down on work a little bit so that I get to spend more time with him, because I believe that was the formative year. So formative in the sense where he's deciding what I can expose him to so many other things, and his idea of being a good person, a good citizen, is formed during those times. So I wanted to be there. So I did cut down upon work, and luckily my husband stepped in and became the primary person to take care of the house expenses. So it definitely helped me there. I decided that I'm never going to stop working. Maybe reduce the quantum of work and the kind of projects I would be picking up on, rather than completely eliminating. So it's not zero, so that later on I'm still in touch with the industry, and later on I can always pick it up when eventually I get the chance to do it. So that has always worked for me. So I hope people get tips out of it and works for them as well.
So I think you said a very interesting point about being with the industry at all times. I mean, how important that point is. Okay, you have to be in touch with the industry. You have to know what your fellow designers are doing. You have to attend these conferences. You need to go to these meet and greets. You need to actually keep updating yourself with the latest design trends. I mean, how important that is. Like, not for a parent, but also for a student, a parent.
Yeah, so
whatever.
basically, as a design student, you should know about any current affairs, basically, and the current thing, the way the things are being designed. So, for example, if you're designing a room for a teenager, you should know what a teenager mindset is. You cannot design it for a teenager who set in 80s. So you have to understand that. So you have to keep yourself relevant. So that is one thing which, adds on as a designer, keeping yourself relevant. And I would say industry touch. It's just to make you feel more comfortable, and it was very important for me to get out of the house also, frankly speaking.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes you need that break. You do not want to be just a mother. You want to have adult conversations. You need to have intellectual conversation, creative conversations, or you need an outlet for your creativity. Otherwise you feel hampered. So that creativity outlet could be a little bit of trickle. I could open the tap more sometimes, I could reduce it, but I do not want to completely shut it down. So that
Very well
is
said. Very well said. I think this sums up whatever I was trying to, get into this motherhood aspect, because I do have a lot of people asking me कि design students, हाँ मतलब सब लोग students के बारे में बात करते हैं, but what about the mothers who want to pursue design? Because a lot of these jobs, like you mentioned at the start of the podcast, product design है, graphic design है, furniture design है, or catalog design, packaging design. A lot of these avenues are work from home avenues. So this is a good field for, the stay at home mothers.
I feel mothers have an upper hand any which ways. उनके जैसा time management ना किसी को नहीं
That's
पता है.
true.
So that really
it's a
works for
process.
them.
It's a process. It works out. Somehow works out. But you and your husband both are design parents. Like both are designers, and both are architects. So what are the pros and cons, like being a design parent? Matlab, I don't know how your son feels about it.
I hope he is not too intimidated about with all the design talks which happens in the house. But as of now, I see he's not too much inclined into getting into the design field. But right now, it's a bit too early. He still has to decide what he wants to do. But I feel. Since I was a design parent, and even for my spouse, what was important for me was, exposing our child to new experiences. So rather than just getting him material gifts, like for any birthday, we have never ever gifted him ki, oh, this is your birthday, so this is your birthday gift. So that has never been a trend in our household. So I always make sure that he gets to experience things, because that remains with you for a really long time. How a space made you feel, that remains with you. How a person made you feel, how a play made you feel, how a musical orchestra. So most of the times, he might not like it also, but even that is an experience that, oh, I do not like this, but he has at least tried it. So that was an initial years you can still control, you can take him out, and make him exposed to all these things. Eventually, when they grow up, they have their own interests and they have their own mindset and thinking, and the peer pressure also comes into play. So some things are really not cool enough,
Cool enough
to
for you.
experience.
Yeah.
So that has been one of the things that we have always done as a design parent, which was a little different, I feel, because whatever I have seen around me.
So experience of a space, experience of
Any kind.
a play.
Yeah. So I have taken him to plays. I have made him do, taken him to jazz concert, taken him to Philharmonic Orchestra, take him to this circus, and the recent one was this Van Gogh experience that we had. So all this with a small bribe, maybe a dinner out, or all these things did work till now. So basically it's something new. So he actually is aware of, oh, something like this exists. Oh, this is also how you can look at things.
Awareness. Now we come to awareness.
Yeah. So and then if it interests him, he will figure it out himself. So, but what happens is most of the times I feel people are not exposed. And by the time they're exposed, they feel, oh yeah, they're too old to do something about it. And so the areas which I am interested in, I do make it a point to expose him to those kind of interests as well.
But that's what lacks. So when you said that you have to be relevant with the design trends, but that's what is required. You have to be aware.
Yeah.
You have to go to these places. You have to experience 3 places first to be aware.
True.
Now let's take an example. Like I have to design a cafe. A very simple cafe. This topic of cafe comes often in our academic, when we are learning, when we are in a design school, it often comes as a design theory, as a design assignment, as an SK. So when we are designing a cafe, most of the times the student hasn't even been to a cafe. तो दिस इज वॉट वी आर कमिंग टू अवेयरनेस कि पहले तो तुम 4 कैफे 5 कैफे देख के आओ, then we'll talk about how a cafe functions, how it works. So I think that will come with experience. I mean,
True, but you also have to understand, like, probably they visit, since, we have something called as case studies in our interior
Yeah,
design schools.
yeah.
So they might just go and visit this cafe, but it's not about just noting down the technical data. Like, probably you need this much storage, you need a counter, you need these many chairs. That is basic. Of course, you need to document that. That is a part of process. But beyond that, you have to understand. So if I take this example of cafe. So cafe no more is a place where you go and eat food, or actually just drink coffee as well. It's now become a social hub. It's a meeting point. So unless and until that part is not fulfilled, your design will never be successful. So that's what I was talking about, earlier when I said that you have to understand what works, what is the silent thing, or what is the problem you need to identify. So if you're going to design a cafe just as a place to come and satisfy your hunger pangs, then it's definitely
Not
going to
working
collapse,
out.
however good the food might be. Because cafe culture now is something else. It's a place to hang out. And it needs a vibe. So that vibe, what kind of vibe? So what is the kind of customers that you're expecting? Either is it the teenage crowd, or you want somebody who is from office crowd. So what kind? So accordingly you need to design. So unless and until that underlying factor is not catered to, the design will collapse. So that's exactly, that problem solving. So understanding what is the issue here and catering to that. Of course, you need to work on the finishes and give the drawings.
technical data, but that you can always find on the internet. Say, for example, a particular finish
And
or a
eventually
particular
that comes
storage.
after
It comes after
experience.
Correct.
So that's true. But this intention, if you are clear with, I feel you will hit the nail in terms of design. At least. Yes.